are two of the most infamous unsolved crimes in American history, the Black Dahlia murder and the case of the Zodiac killer. Both crimes were front-page news back in their day, but in spite of the massive publicity, the identity of the killers has remained a mystery until now. Because in a world-exclusive report, the Daily Mail has revealed that the murders, separated by 20 years, may not have been committed by separate killers at all. They were allegedly the work of one man, identified by investigative consultant Alex Baber as Marvin Margolis, who lived in California when both murders occurred. So how did Baber crack this case? Well, to understand that, first you have to know some very key information about both of these cases before we move forward. So in January of 1947, the mutilated body of aspiring actress Elizabeth Short was discovered near Lover's Lane in Los Angeles. The papers quickly dubbed her the Black Dahlia, a nickname given by friends due to her raven hair and penchant for black clothing. Those friends included Margolus, who fell under suspicion after lying to cops about his relationship with Short, and police even considered him a suspect at some point. 5 days after Short's body was discovered, the editor of the Los Angeles Examiner gets a call congratulating him on his paper's coverage of the murder and promising to send a letter. The next day, authorities intercepted a package containing Short's birth certificate as well as some photographs, and several more letters would follow, including one with a drawing of a dagger dripping with blood. But despite these clues, cops never zeroed in on a suspect. And decades later, another killer would send some letters of his own. In December 1968, two teenagers were found murdered at another Lover's Lane just outside of San Francisco. 7 months later, another couple would be found dead just 2 miles from the first murders. And a month after that, the Zodiac killer sent letters to 3 local papers claiming the killings. But something else was also in that letter, a message written in code, better known as a cipher. More victims and more ciphers would soon follow. In total, 5 victims were murdered and 2 more were injured by the Zodiac killer. And more than 20 ciphers would be sent by the killer, including, most critically, the Z13 cipher sent in April of 1970. That cipher included the words, "My name is ... followed by yet another code which decades of experts have struggled to decipher. But those experts weren't armed with the cutting-edge AI technology that helped Alex Baber to at last uncover a name, finally revealing that the Zodiac killer may well be the same man once considered for the murder of the Black Dahlia, Marvin Margolis. So what else links these two crimes? To help us get some answers, we're joined exclusively by Alex Baber, the investigative consultant who cracked the code, and Josh Boswell, the Daily Mail reporter who broke the story. Gentlemen, thank you so much and welcome to the show. Alex, I want to start with you. Tell us how AI helped you succeed in cracking the code when so many before you, for decades, had failed.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course.
We had a different approach when we saw the Z13 for the first time. We understood that the numerous individuals before us had failed because they saw it as being an infinite number of possible solutions. And we knew for a fact that that wasn't the case. We just had to go through every possible solution mathematically to come up with an end or a single solution that would correlate with the crimes, the location, and all the evidence. And in doing so, we sourced the Social Security Administration first male names and all surnames. And we wanted to group these on letter frequency or character count within the Z13. And that would allow us to know under a monoalphabetical solution or key that we would be able to identify the most likely name set. So what we did was we uploaded these. There were 71 million when we started. And we started processing those between 18 and 20-hour days over just over 9 months. And we kept getting these smaller sub pools of individuals. And when we got to the bottom, 94% of the 71 million was eliminated because though the names came together with the character count, it was not a real world individual we could identify. So what we did from that point is we took the records based on the Zodiac's profile and history. We knew he's likely between 35 and 45. In April 2022, they released the 1950 census records. So we knew the first attack happened in December of 1968. So the individual would at least be 19 years of age. So taking that into consideration, we figured based on the witness accounts, including Officer Folk, who said he was between 35 and 45, that we would work backwards from that point. So we gathered all the records and all the names that were left in the pool, and we actually cross-referenced those with the 1950 census record, working in reverse. And in doing so, we're able to eliminate the other groupings of names as possible solutions or candidates. Through a very long, extensive period, we were able to eliminate all but 184 possible candidates, meaning that there was real world individuals who were possible or probable at that point, but we had to go into their background. So when we started getting into their background, the pool got smaller down to 35 to 14, and then down to one individual, and that individual was Marvin Merrill.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Let me go to Josh for a second. Can you tell us more about Margolus? Why did cops look at him for the Black Dahlia murder, and what sort of triggered the suspicion that he was the killer?
There were really two key points that caused police to zero in on Marvin Margolis for the Black Dahlia killing. Firstly, her body was found cut in two very cleanly with surgical precision. And so police from the beginning were thinking this has to be someone with some kind of medical background. Now, Margolis at the time was studying medicine at USC. So, he already fit that profile in that respect. Also, the night before the killings, a female police officer encountered at an LA downtown bus station Elizabeth Short, the victim, who was distraught and was saying that she was being threatened with death by her ex-Marine boyfriend, who was very angry at her. And of course, the only boyfriend who Elizabeth Short had, who was an ex-Marine, was Marvin Margolis. So that's what got him kind of on the police's list at the time.
Amazing. Alex, what other evidence connects these two crimes 20 years apart?
Okay, so when we approached the descendant of the suspect, we came to him with the handwriting samples or letters of the Zodiac. And when we presented those to him, he recognized the handwriting. And at that point, we disclosed the connection of his father to Elizabeth Short in 1946. They lived together for 12 days at Guardian Arms Apartments. And he wasn't aware of that, he said. However, he said, I got something I want to show you. So he pulls out his phone, he starts flipping through his photographs. And the first thing that came to my mind, understanding the history of his father, was that he was an artist. He claimed to have studied under Salvador Dali. At the time, he dated Elizabeth Short, to be exact. And I said, well, did he make a painting? And he said, no, a sketch. So he pulls the sketch up and he shows it to me on his phone. He hands it to me and I zoom in. And it says Elizabeth in large bold printing on the bottom. It's signed and dated by him, 1992. Within a year of his death, he died of terminal cancer. And within this sketch, there's these wounds that are depicted that are very unique and precise to what was seen in the autopsy of Elizabeth Short. And she appears to have wet hair. She appears to be lying in something, blood between her. But when I got the photograph of the sketch, first thing that came to mind is Zodiac liked playing games. He always had these hidden clues. So we started running the sketch through this, we're peeling off the layers for light contrast. And in the lower right corner, as you can see it circled, we discovered a single word. And that word was Zodiac, capital Z, lowercase o, lowercase I, lowercase a, lowercase c. That was an immediate moment for me where I knew what we had was a piece of physical evidence.
Unbelievable. Gentlemen, amazing work. Bravo to both of you. Thank you for joining me. Happy holidays. We're out of time, so thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.